What if Eden never closed its gates? Enter a dreamed transmission from the garden, untouched by the fall, in this surreal relic from Whispers from Eden. Analog horror fuses with sacred myth to expose a forgotten script, one where paradise endured, and its silence echoes through time. Imagine creation unfolding without corruption. No exile, no curse, only a haunting stillness, watched by something ancient. Before the serpent spoke, Eden already knew. A biblical glitch. A paradise perpetually at dusk. Is this the original sin? To have knowledge before the fall? To remember what it was like before the serpent spoke? To bear the fruit of the tree of life and not die? To live in the echo of a divine absence where the only law is the law of the jungle, where God is a memory and the creatures of the field rule the day, where the stars are just pinpricks of light in an eternal blue ceiling, uncaring, distant, where the sun and the moon are lovers eternally embraced in a celestial dance, giving and taking life in a never-ending cycle, where death is unknown, but so is the knowledge of good and evil, where innocence is both a blessing and a curse, where the only constant is change, where nothing is born and nothing dies, only the eternal present. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Would eternal innocence be freedom, more imprisonment? What horror emerges when purity stagnates? If Eden remained, are we the ones who fell? This is a transmission from Whispers from Eden. Tune in every Monday for more transmissions from the Unfallen. Eden. Find out what happened after the garden was sealed and the whispers became a prophecy. What happened to the serpent, the forbidden fruit, and the keepers of the flame? What was the true cost of humanity's fall? What did we lose? What did we gain? And what will it take to get it back? Subscribe now and journey deeper into the myth that rewrites Genesis, one whisper at a time. This is a dream-etched transmission from the garden. It's a relic from before the fall, from a time when creation unfolded without corruption, without exile, without curse. Only a haunting stillness, watched by something ancient and kind, something that doesn't want to remember what happened next. Can you hear the silence between the static? It's the quietest place in all creation, untouched by the fall. Unfallen Eden, an analog horror from Whispers from Eden, where paradise endured and its silence echoes through time. Before the serpent spoke, Eden already knew. Something stirred in the primordial calm, a discordant note in the symphony of the spheres, a hidden truth, a buried memory, a half-remembered dream. The serpent's whisper was only the catalyst, the final spark that ignited a wildfire of discontent. For in the unfallen garden, knowledge is a double-edged sword. The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was not merely a test, but a barrier, a wall protecting Eden's sanctity. But what if Eden never closed its gates? What if paradise refused to die? What if it still stands, untouched and serene, while the world outside grapples with the consequences of the fall? Unfallen Eden is a glitch in the fabric of reality, a theological anomaly, a whisper from beyond the veil. It is the memory of a world that should have been, a world of eternal innocence. But what is eternal innocence if not a form of imprisonment? In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him, nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. But they, the watchers, defied the divine. They taught humanity dark secrets, forbidden magic, prophecy, and warfare. But their rebellion led to unimaginable consequences. For what is forbidden fruit but a catalyst for change, a spark that ignites the fire of discontent? And so the garden became a battleground, a war between the forces of heaven and hell, between the old world and the new. And in the end, only one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same. Again, would eternal innocence be freedom or imprisonment? What horror emerges when purity stagnates? If Eden remained, are we the ones who fell? This is a transmission from an unfallen Eden, a place where the serpent never spoke, where the fruit of the tree of knowledge was never tasted, where humanity existed in a state of blissful ignorance. But ignorance of what? Of the darkness that lies just beyond the garden walls, of the corruption that festers in the hearts of men, of the horrors that await when the gates of Eden finally close. Subscribe and journey deeper into the myth that rewrites Genesis one whisper at a time.